gun to my head, I would have said Jon Jones will beat him right now. Guess what? Tom has never been pushed into those championship rounds. Once he gets to those championship rounds, even now, say Cyril, he learns to go 25 minutes where that first time you feel that, yo, Tom hasn't gotten off the stool for a third round.
We saw that Francis Ngannou, Stipe.
Exactly. Francis, when he fought Stipe and he went to try to knock him out, by the middle of the fight, Francis looking like he saw a ghost. You needed to fight Tom now when he doesn't have that experience,
where he's,
especially as Jon Jones.
People don't understand how effective
it's exhausting
that is when you come to thump.
You want
I'm Aspinall. If I failed to fight Stipe, I would be ducking Stipe because we contractually have been signed up to fight over a year ago. This is Stipe's position. The Tom narrative came out of nowhere. He won a belt and now suddenly I'm ducking him. I've never had negotiations to even fight him, if this makes sense. So the fans are just ignoring it. They're ignoring all logic and they just have finally found someone that they think can compete with me. And
Daniel Cormier just fired off a serious warning to Tom Aspinall about Jon Jones, and trust me, you're going to want to hear this entire breakdown. We're also getting into Jones's shocking move to re-enter the testing pool and what that could mean for a possible showdown at the White House. So buckle up, because this story has more twists than one of Jon Jones's spinning elbows. Let's jump right into it. Alright, straight to the point. Daniel Cormier just dropped a major bomb on his Pound for Pound podcast, and it's the last thing you'd expect from a guy who's been campaigning for Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall.
He would have already fought Tom.
I don't think much about it, but I really do want to fight Tom Aspinall. I just want to meet him here at Dirty Boxing.
So he has to come to a Dirty Boxing event for him to get the fight. You'll fight at Dirty Boxing. I like that. All right, Tom.
Even though Cormier has been one of the loudest critics telling Jon Jones to stop avoiding Tom Aspinall, he just confessed something nobody expected. He actually thinks Jon would have beaten the interim champ, and this is the exact line that has the entire MMA world buzzing. If I had to bet my life, I'd still pick Jon to beat Aspinall right now.
Since the fight will never happen, gun to my head, I would have said Jon Jones will beat him right now. I would have said he'll probably beat him right now. Because guess what? Tom has never been pushed into those championship rounds. But if Tom gets to those once he gets to those championship rounds, even now, say Cyril Gane pushes him 25 minutes. And if he beats Cyril Gane, but he learns to go 25 minutes where that first time you feel that, I gotta get up off that stool after the third round. Yo, Tom hasn't gotten off the stool for a third round. You needed to fight Tom now, when he doesn't have that experience, where he's especially.
This is massive coming from DC, a guy who has every reason in the world to doubt Jon Jones. Cormier isn't letting old beef cloud his judgment. His breakdown is actually pretty fascinating. The main factor, championship rounds. Cormier says Aspinall's biggest blind spot is his lack of real experience in those brutal deep rounds 4 and 5, the rounds that separate good fighters from the truly elite.
I will miss the most, and it's one of the scariest feelings, is being sat in that arena and you getting your hands wrapped and you can hear the roar of the crowd like it's shaking the walls, and you are scared to get in there, and you know that somewhere else in that arena there's another guy in here, is somebody else getting their hands wrapped as well, going through the same thing as me, and we don't know each other, and you guys are just going to meet in the middle in front of millions of people and just fight, and one of us is probably going to be separated from our consciousness. That's what I look forward to. What replaces 25,000 people?
Think about it for a second. Tom Aspinall has never been pushed beyond round 2 in his entire UFC run. He's a wrecking machine, a guy who destroys opponents early, but what happens when the finish doesn't come? What happens when he's forced to go deep to show real championship grit? Cormier laid it out perfectly. That first moment when you're gasping for air, that first time you have to pull yourself off the stool after round 3, that's a different world. And here's the reality, Tom Aspinall has never even stood up for a third round in the UFC.
Once he gets to those championship rounds, even now, say Cyril Gane pushes him 25 minutes, and if he beats Cyril Gane, but he learns to go 25 minutes where that first time you feel that, I gotta get up off that stool after the third round. Yo, Tom hasn't gotten off the stool for a third round.
We saw that Francis Ngannou, Stipe.
Exactly. That's the comp. Francis, when he fought Stipe and he went to try to knock him out, by the middle of the fight, Francis looking like he saw a ghost.
Right.
Francis breathing out of his mouth and nose. How you breathe out of your mouth and nose at the same time? Francis doesn't manage to create a whole different way of breathing. And I love Francis.
Hey, don't talk about my brother
You know,
like that.
come on.
Yeah.
We talked about it. He laughed at it himself.
This is the kind of experience you simply cannot simulate in training, and DC backed it up with the perfect example. Francis Ngannou. Remember when Ngannou fought Stipe Miocic the first time? By the middle of that fight, Francis was exhausted and completely out of rhythm. That's what real championship pressure does, even to the most terrifying punchers on the planet. But here's where Cormier's breakdown gets even more interesting. He said this moment right now is the ideal window. Jon Jones needed to fight Aspinall before Tom develops that championship endurance and composure. Because once Aspinall gets that experience, the matchup changes entirely.
They exist. We're winning. He knows they exist. That's good. That's progress. That's progress. I'll see him soon.
The message is pretty clear if Tom Aspinall ever goes through a grueling 5-round battle with someone like Cyril Gane. If he learns how to survive in those deep championship waters, he becomes a far more dangerous threat to Jon Jones. And that leads to a really interesting tactical question. Was Jon Jones actually smart when he decided to step away? Did he see that his window of advantage over Aspinall was slowly closing? Remember, Jon isn't just a great fighter, he's one of the most calculated minds in MMA history. He's beaten legends across multiple eras and knows how to strategize better than almost anyone. So if even Daniel Cormier, his biggest rival and harshest critic, is saying Jones would have beaten Aspinall, that tells you everything about the level of respect Jon Jones still commands.
Today, he gave Jon Jones some serious fucking trouble. And Jon destroyed his legs. He needed double knee surgery after that fight.
What was going through your mind when you did that jumping side kick? Looked like you were aiming for Thiago Santos's knee.
Thiago was trying to break my jaw tonight. And if a guy can give you a stutter for the rest of your life, I think an even trade-off is to give him a lump for the rest of his life. That's just the game we play.
But here's the real twist: Jon Jones might not be done after all. That brings us to a shocking development nobody saw coming. Just when it seemed like the Jon Jones saga had ended, Bones himself dropped a bomb on social media, and the MMA world went into overdrive. After retiring following his win over Stipe Miocic, Jones revealed on X that he's back in the testing pool for about 2 weeks, saying figured we'd keep everyone's options.
Has returned to the testing pool. And he has stated, and I quote, to keep everybody's options open. Now, what do you do with Jon? See, there's no denying his greatness. And there's no making believe that in the last 13 days, he got worse. He was ranked number 2 on the pound-for-pound list. He now going back into the pool, unretires himself from a legal standpoint. So when the rankings come out next...
2 weeks. That's all it took. Jon Jones retired for just 2 weeks before jumping back into the USADA testing pool. It's unprecedented, and it instantly opens up a world of possibilities. So what sparked this sudden comeback? The answer might just blow your mind. President Donald Trump's announced UFC White House event for the July 4th celebrations. Jones even hinted at interest himself, posting about fighting at the White House with eye emojis. Imagine it, the former light heavyweight and heavyweight champion possibly stepping onto the White House lawn as part of America's 250th anniversary celebration. And here's the kicker: Daniel Cormier, the man who spent years calling out and criticizing Jones, admitted he would actually cheer for his rival if this fight happened. If we've got to send one American fighter to the White House to get a win, send Jon Jones. I would cheer so hard for him. And just like that, a story that seemed finished is now wide open. Jon Jones isn't done. White House Showdown is alive, and the MMA world is watching, holding its breath for what comes next.